Good evening. It says here, my name is Eli Wallach. We're now in the midst of yet another holiday season. I've found after more than 8 decades, that's wrong, on this earth, that the most enduring things we take away from any of the holidays that we celebrate each year are not the cards or gifts, but the memories of our family and our friends, sharing time together. The piece you're about to hear tonight is an autobiographical recollection of a Christmas past, when Truman Capote was but 7 years old. Left by his parents, who were forever leaving him behind to pursue their own dreams of success, Truman found himself living with cousins in Monroeville, Alabama. It was a strange household he entered, unique to the South, peculiar to the time. 3 quarrelsome sisters in late middle age, their reclusive older brother, and an atmosphere heavy with small secrets and ancient resentments. Jenny, Callie, Sook, and Bud, united by blood and the rambling old house on Alabama Avenue. I'll get there. Divided by jealousy and the accumulated hurts of half a century. Sook, the oldest in years, was the youngest in mind and spirit. Shy and unworldly, Sook knew nothing of the world outside of Monroe County. Her job was to stay at home and take care of the house. When Truman arrived, this young boy soon became her best and truest friend. This piece is a memory. And now to borrow a quote from a contemporary and friend of Mr. Capote's, Tennessee Williams, in the preface to his play, The Glass Menagerie, quote, "Being a memory play, it is dimly lighted. It is sentimental. It is not realistic. In memory, everything seems to happen to music." Go music. That explains the piano on the sidelines. So now, a lovely lady, dear friend of Anne's and mine, 60 years almost, Patricia Neal, and her young friend Joel Vig in Truman Capote's A Christmas Memory.
A Christmas Memory by Truman Capote. Imagine a morning in late November, the coming of winter morning more than 20 years ago. Consider the kitchen of a spreading old house in a country town. A great black stove is its main feature, but there's also a big wooden table and a rocking chair and a fireplace with 2 rocking chairs placed in front of it. Just today, the fireplace commenced its seasonal roar. A woman with jet black hair, peppered with gray, is sitting at the kitchen table and looking out the window. She's wearing tennis shoes and a shapeless blue sweater over a summery calico dress. She's large-boned, but moves sprightly, like a bantam hen. But due to a long youthful illness, her shoulders are pitifully hunched. Her face is remarkable, not unlike Lincoln's, craggy like that, and is tinted by sun and wind. But it is delicate too, finely boned, and her eyes are sherry-colored and timid.
Oh, my. It's fruitcake weather.
The person to whom she is speaking is myself. I'm 7. She is 60-something. We are cousins, very distant ones, and we have lived together, well, as long as I can remember.
Other people inhabit the house, relatives. And though they have their power over us and frequently make us cry, and not on the whole too much aware of them. We are each other's best friends.
She calls me Buddy in memory of a boy who was formerly her best friend. The other Buddy died in the 1880s when she was still a child. She is still a child.
But it is a faithful, oh no, I knew it before I got out of bed. The courthouse sounded so cold and clear, and there were birds singing. They've gone to warmer country, yes indeed. Oh, Buddy, stop stuffing biscuits and fetch our buggy. Help me find my hat. We've 30 cakes to bake.
It's always been the same. The morning arrives in November, and my friend, as though officially inaugurating the Christmas time of year that exhilarates her imagination and fuels the blaze of her heart, announces,
It's fruitcake weather. Fetch our buggy. Help me find my hat.
the hat is found.
A straw cartwheel corsaged with velvet roses out of doors has faded. It once belonged to a more fashionable relative. Together we guide our buggies, a dilapidated baby carriage, out to the garden and into a grove of pecan trees.
The buggy is mine. That is, it was bought for me when I was born. It is made of wicker, rather unraveled, and its wheels wobble like a drunkard's legs.
But it is a faithful object. Springtimes we take it to the woods and fill it with flowers, herbs, wild fern for our porch pots. And in the summer we pile it with picnic paraphernalia and sugar cane, fishing poles, and roll it down to the edge of the creek.
It has its winter uses too, as a truck for hauling firewood from the yard to the kitchen, as a warm bed for Queenie, our tough little orange and white rat terrier, who has survived distemper and 2 rattlesnake bites. Queenie is trotting beside it now.
3 hours later, and we are back in the kitchen, hulling a heaping load full of windfall pecans. Oh, our backs hurt from gathering them. How hard they were to find. The main crop having been shaken off with trees and sold by the orchard's owner, who are not us. Crackle.
A cheery crunch, scraps of miniature thunder sound as the shells collapse and the golden mound of sweet, oily ivory meat mounts in the milk glass bowl. Queenie begs to taste, and now and again my friend sneaks her a mite, though insisting we deprive ourselves.
Oh, we mustn't, Buddy. If we start, we won't stop. And there's scarcely enough as there is for 30 cakes.
The kitchen is growing dark. Dusk turns the window into a mirror. Our reflections mingle with the rising moon as we work by the fireside in the firelight. At last, when the moon is quite high, we toss the final hull into the fire and with joined sighs watch it catch flame. The buggy is empty, the bowl is brimful. We eat our supper
Cold biscuits, bacon, blackberry jam.
and discuss tomorrow. Tomorrow the kinds of work I like best begins. Buying.
Cherries and citron, ginger and vanilla, and canned Hawaiian pineapple. Rinds and raisins of walnuts and whiskey. And oh, so much flour, butter, so many eggs and spices and flavorings. Why, we'll need a pony to pull the buggy home.
But before purchases can be made, there is the question of money. Neither of us has any. Except for skinflint sums persons in the house occasionally provide, a dime is considered very big money, or what we earn ourselves from various activities like holding rummage sales.
Selling buckets of hand-picked blackberries, jars of homemade and apple jelly, and peach preserves, grinded up flowers for funerals and weddings. And once we win the 79th prize, $5 from a national football contest. Not that we know a thing about football.
It's just that we enter any contest that we hear about. At the moment, our hopes are being centered on a $50,000 grand prize being offered to name a new brand of coffee. We suggested AM, and after some hesitation, for my friend thought it perhaps sacrilegious, the slogan, AM, Amen.
To tell the truth, our only really profitable enterprise was the Fun and Freak Museum we conducted in a backyard woodshed 2 summers ago.
The fun was a stereopticon with slide views of Washington and New York lent to us by a relative who had been to those places.
Ooh, she was furious when she discovered we'd borrowed it.
The freak was a
Buddy, let me tell it. The freak was a three-legged bitty chicken hatched by one of our own hens. Everybody hereabouts wanted to see that bitty.
We charged grown-ups a nickel, kids 2 cents. It took in a good $20 before the museum shut down due to the decease of the main attraction.
But one way and another, we do each year accumulate Christmas savings of fruit cake fun.
These monies we keep hidden in an ancient beaded purse, under a loose board, under the floor, under a chamber pot, under my friend's bed. The purse is seldom removed from this safe location, except to make a deposit, or as happens every Sunday, a withdrawal. For on Sundays I'm allowed 10 cents to go to the picture show. My friend has never been to a picture show, nor does she intend to.
No, I'd rather hear you tell the story, Buddy. That way I can imagine it more. Besides, a person my age shouldn't squander their eyes. When the Lord comes, let me see him clear.
In addition to never having seen a movie, she has never
Eaten in a restaurant, traveled more than 5 miles from home, received or sent a telegram, read anything except funny papers and the Bible, worn cosmetics, cursed, wished someone harm, told a lie on purpose, let a hungry dog go hungry.
Here are a few things she has done, does do.
Kill with a hoe the biggest rattlesnake I've ever seen in this country.
16 rattles,
Dip snuff.
secretly.
Tame hummingbirds till they balanced on my finger.
Just try it sometime.
Tell ghost stories,
We both believe in ghosts.
so tingling they chill you in July.
You talk to yourself.
Take walks in the rain, go to the prettiest japonicas in town. Know the recipe for every sort of old-time Indian cure, including a magical wart remover.
Now, with supper finished, we retire to a room in the faraway part of the house where my friend sleeps.
Silently wallowing in the pleasures of conspiracy, we take the bead purse from the secret place and fill some of its coins on the scrap of quilt. Dollar bill, tightly rolled and green as Maybuds.
Somber 50-cent pieces, heavy enough to weight a dead man's eye.
Oh, lovely dimes. The liveliest coin, the one that really jingles. Nickels and quarters, worn smooth as creek pebbles.
But mostly, a hateful heap of bitter-odored pennies. Last summer, others in the house contracted to pay us a penny for every 25 flies we killed.
No, the carnage of August, the flies that flew to heaven.
Yet it was not work in which we took pride, and as we sit counting pennies, it is as though we were back tabulating dead flies. Neither of us has a head for figures. We count slowly, lose track, start again. According to her calculations, we have $12.73. According to mine, exactly $13.
Well, I do hope you're wrong, buddy. We can't mess around with 13. The cakes fall. or put someone in the cemetery, why, I wouldn't dream of getting out of bed on the 13th.
This is true. She always spends 13th in bed. So, just to be on the safe side, we subtract a penny and toss it out the window.
Of the ingredients that go into our fruitcakes, whiskey is the most expensive, as well as the hardest to obtain. State laws forbid its sale, but everybody knows you can buy a bottle from Mr. Ha-Ha Jones.
The next day, having completed our more prosaic shopping, we set out for Mr. Ha-Ha's business address, a sinful, to quote public opinion, fish frying and dancing cafe down by the river.
We've been there before, and on the same errand. But in previous years, our dealings have been with Ha-Ha's wife, an iodine dark Indian woman with brassy peroxided hair and a dead tired disposition. Well, actually, we've never laid eyes on her husband, though we've heard that he's an Indian too.
A giant with razor scars across his cheeks.
They call him Ha-Ha because he's so gloomy, a man who never laughs. We approach his cafe on our steps, slow down.
Even Queenie stops prancing and sticks close by.
Oh, people have been murdered in Ha-Ha's cafe, cut to pieces, hit on the head. Why, there's a case coming up in the court next month.
Naturally, these goings-on happen at night, when the colored lights cast crazy patterns and the Victrola wails. In the daytime, Ha-Ha's is shabby and deserted. I knock at the door, Queenie barks.
Mrs. Ha-Ha, ma'am? You? Anybody to home?
Footsteps. The door opens. Our hearts overturn.
It's Mr. Ha-Ha himself.
And he is a giant. He does have scars. He doesn't smile. No, he glowers at us through Satan-tilted eyes and demands to know,
"What do you want with Ha?"
for a moment we are too paralyzed to tell.
If you please, Mr. Ha-Ha, we'd like a quart of your finest whiskey.
Would you believe it? Ha-Ha is smiling, laughing too.
"Which one of you is a drinking man?"
Oh, it's for making fruit cakes, Mr. Ha-Ha. Cooking.
This sobers him. He frowns.
"That's no way to waste good whiskey."
Nevertheless, he retreats into the shadowed cafe and moments later appears carrying a bottle of daisy yellow, unlabeled liquor. He demonstrates its sparkle in the sunlight and says,
$2.
We pay him with nickels and dimes and pennies. And suddenly, as he jangles the coins in his hand like a fistful of dice, his face softens.
"Tell you what,
he proposes, pouring the coins back into our beaded purse.
just send me one of them fruitcakes instead."
Well, there's a lovely man. We'll put an extra cup of raisins in his cake.
The black stove, stoked with coal and firewood, glows like a lighted pumpkin.
Egg beaters swirl, spoons spin around in bowls of butter, and sugar, vanilla sweetens the air. Ginger spices it. Melting rose-tingling odors saturated the kitchen, suffused the house, drift out to the world on puffs of chimney smoke.
In 4 days, our work is done. 31 cakes, dampened with whiskey, bask on windowsills and shelves. Who are they for, you ask?
Friends.
Not necessarily neighbor friends. Indeed, the larger share is intended for persons we've met maybe once, perhaps not at all.
People who've struck our fancy, like President Roosevelt.
Like the Reverend and Mr. J.C. Lucy, Baptist missionaries to Borneo, who lectured here last winter.
Or the little knife grinders who comes through town twice a year. Or Abner Packer, the driver on 6 o'clock bus from Mobile, who exchanges waves with us every day as he passes in the dust cloud. Whoosh!
Or the young Wistons, a California couple whose car one afternoon broke down outside of our house, who spent a pleasant hour chatting with us on the porch.
Young Mr. Whiston snapped our picture, the only one we've ever had taken.
Is it because my friend is shy with everyone except strangers that these strangers and merest acquaintances seem to us to be our best and truest friends? I think yes. Also, the scrapbooks we keep of thank yous on White House stationery, time-to-time communications from California and Borneo, the knife grinder's penny postcards, make us feel connected to eventful worlds beyond the kitchen with its view of a sky that stops.
Now a new December fig branch grates against the window. The kitchen is empty. The cakes are gone. Yesterday we carted the last of them to the post office, where the cost of stamps turned our purse inside out. We're broke.
That rather depresses me. But my friend insists on celebrating with 2 inches of whiskey left in Mr. Ha-Ha's bottle.
Queenie has a spoonful in a bowl of coffee. She likes her coffee chicory flavored and strong. The rest we divide between a pair of jelly glasses. Oh, we're both quite awed at the prospect of drinking straight whiskey. The taste of it brings screwed up expressions and sour shudders.
But by and by, we begin to sing. 2 of us singing different songs, sometimes simultaneously. I don't know all the words to mine, just da 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 to the taxi, honey, but
Better be ready at 8:30.
Oh, darling, don't be late. We're gonna be there when the band starts playing. Ba-dum-ba-da-da-da, honey, ba-dum-ba. We're gonna have it all. We're gonna dance off both of our shoes
Patent leather.
when we play those Jelly Roll blues.
Get together.
When you hurry on down to the Dark Town Strutters, B-A-double-L ball, matching the gas tank.
Boom, boom.
I can't sing, but I can dance. That's what I mean to be, a tap dancer in the movies. My dancing shadow rollicks on the walls. Our voices rock the chinaware. We giggle as though unseen hands were tickling us.
Queenie rolls up on her back. Her paws plow the air. Something like a grin stretches her black lips. Inside myself, I feel warm and sparky as those crummy logs, carefree and the wind in the chimney.
But my friend waltzes around the stove, her tennis shoes squeaking on the floor, the hem of her poor calico skirt pinched between her fingers as though it were a party dress.
Oh, show me the way to go home. Oh, show me the way to go home.
Enter 2 relatives,
Very angry.
potent with eyes that scold.
Tongues that scowl.
Listen to what they have to say, the words tumbling together into a wrathful tune.
A child of 7?
Whiskey on his breath,
Are you out of your mind?
feeding a child of 7.
Must be a loony.
Road to ruination,
Remember Cousin Kate,
Uncle Charlie,
Uncle Charlie's brother-in-law.
shame,
Scandal.
humiliation,
Neal.
pray, Beg the Lord! Queenie sneaks under the stove. My friend gazes at her shoes, her chin quivers. She lifts her skirt and blows her nose and runs to her room. Long after the house is silent, except for the chiming of clocks and the sputter of fading fires, she's weeping into a pillow already as wet as a widow's handkerchief. Don't cry. I'm sitting on the bottom of her bed and shivering despite my flannel nightgown that smells like last winter's cough syrup. Don't cry, I say, tickling her feet, tickling her toes. You're too old for that.
It's because I'm too old. Old and funny.
Not funny, fun. More fun than anybody. Listen, if you don't stop crying, you'll be so tired tomorrow we can't go cut a tree. She straightens up. Queenie jumps on the bed where Queenie is not allowed to lick her cheeks.
I know where we'll find real pretty trees, buddy. And holly, too, with berries as big as your eyes. Oh, it's way off in the woods, farther than we've ever been. Papa used to bring us Christmas trees from there, carry them on his shoulders. Oh, that's 15 years ago. Well, now I can hardly wait for morning.
Morning. Frozen rime lusters the grass. The sun, round as an orange and orange at hot weather moons, balances on the horizon, burnishes the silvered winter woods. The wild turkey calls, renegade hog grunts in the undergrowth. Soon by the edge of the knee-deep, rapid running water, we have to abandon the buggy.
Queenie wades the stream first, paddles across barking complaints on the swiftness of the current, the pneumonia-making coldness of it.
We follow, holding our shoes and equipment, a hatchet and a burlap sack above our heads. A mile more, another creek to cross. A disturbed armada of speckled trout froths the water around us, and frogs the size of plates practice belly flops. Beaver workmen are building a dam. On the farther shore, Queenie shakes herself and trembles. My friend shivers too, not with cold, but with enthusiasm. One of her hat's ragged roses sheds a petal as she lifts her head and inhales the pine-heavy air.
We're almost there. Can you smell it, buddy?
As though we were approaching an ocean. And indeed, it is a kind of an ocean. Scented acres of holiday trees, prickly-leafed holly, red berries shiny as Chinese bells, black crows swoop upon them screaming.
Having stuffed our burlap sacks with enough greenery and crimson to garland a dozen windows, we set about choosing a tree. It should be twice as tall as a boy, so a boy can't steal the star.
The one we pick is twice as tall as me, a brave, handsome brute that survives 30 hatchet strokes before it keels with a creaking, rending cry. Lugging it like a kill, we commence the long trek out.
Every few yards we abandon the struggle, sit down and pant.
But we have the strength of triumphant huntsmen. That and the tree's virile, icy perfume revive us, goad us on. Many compliments accompany our sunset return along the red clay road to town. But my friend is sly and noncommittal. When passers-by praise the treasure perched on our buggy, what a fine tree, and where did it come from?
Yonder ways.
Once, a car stops, and the rich mill owner's lazy wife leans out and whines, "Give you 2 bits cash for that old tree."
Why, we wouldn't take $1.
$1, my foot. 50 cents, that's my final offer. Goodness, woman, you can always get yourself another one.
Well, I doubt it. There's never two of anything.
Home. Queenie slumps by the fire and sleeps till tomorrow, snoring as loud as a human.
A trunk in the attic contains a shoebox of ermine tails.